Hi there, Laura here. Today I am going to be using my Profusion face palette and I'm going to be giving myself some eyelids. And you say, what do you mean giving yourself some eyelids? Well, if you look at my eyes, I have hooded eyes. I didn't used to have hooded eyes when I was younger, so this has come with age. I've also got wrinkly eyelids, which I've always had wrinkly eyelids, like the backs of my hands, you can see that, have always been wrinkly as well. And I just learnt to live with that and ignore it. But with my hooded eyes, I've had to learn how to deal with that. And sometimes it doesn't worry me, sometimes it's like, oh, I'd like to have some eyelids. So if I look straight into the camera, which it's quite hard to figure out what I'm doing there, you can see this part here, how hooded that is. So I'm going to give myself some eyelids today, and I'm going to be using my Pan That palette, which is the Face Profusion palette, like I mentioned before. And this palette's only got 4 shades of eyeshadow, plus a bronzer and a highlighter in it. So ignore those two because those are cream brow products and I'm not using those because they're way too old. But I've been thinking of different looks to come up with using just these colours. And so I did a brown smoky eye in my What's Going On With My Channel video. And today I'm going to be doing a cream cut crease and giving myself some eyelids. So let's get on with it. Now I've got my base already on, so I've got my primer and my foundation and I've powdered, but I haven't got any blush or bronzer or anything on. So I'm going to start off with my e.l.f. put it up the right way, with my e.l.f. primer, and I'm just going to put that on the top half of my eye. So I'm not going to actually put that on my lid. So I'm also going to use a couple of other products to help me with this look. Now this e.l.f. primer is also one that's in my Project Pan series, and it is starting to get a bit empty, so I've had to dip into that quite a lot to get enough product out. So I'm just going to spread that on there. Now I've actually already filmed this once before, but when I went and looked at the footage I kept going out of frame. So when I was doing my eyes I was way down here and you couldn't see what I was doing. So I've changed the setup slightly, so hopefully that won't happen this time. So I'm still figuring out the best way to put my camera and my lights and everything so you can see what I'm doing. It's not too dark and I can see what I'm doing. Okay, as I go along, hopefully I'll get better at it. So I didn't even tell you what I was doing then. I was just using my e.l.f. high definition under eye setting powder, and I was just setting that primer that I used on my eyes. And I'm going to do the transition first. So I'm going to go in with my Real Techniques, what's it called, Stop shade brush. So that's that one that has a nice angle on it that fits nicely into my crease. This is the bigger one. I've got a smaller one as well. This is the smaller one. And I'm just going to go into that fawn colour, which is a light brown. You don't have to have this palette to do this. My idea would be that you can do this with any palette that you have with appropriate shades, and you don't have to use the same colours as I'm using, just use whatever's good for your actual eye, for your actual skin tone. Just realised I didn't have my microphone, so I went and got that. So I want you to be able to hear me. So what was I doing? Okay, I've just got some shadow on my brush here, my angle brush, and I'm just going to go into where the crease is. Now for my eyes, I have a definite crease here. Some people have trouble seeing where they would put that, and I'm going into the crease, which this brush, if you can see, this brush just fits nicely into, and I'm also going above there, but not right up to my brow bone, just so you can see the colour. And this one is more hooded than this one, so this one I've got to raise my eyebrows a bit more to get the colour in there. And this colour is very close to my skin tone, so you can't see it that well. And then I just relax my eye and see where the colours come up and make sure that I can see it. Because this colour is nearly my skin tone, I don't have to be too fussy about blending it too much. And then I'm going to get my other brush, which I've buried. And so this one is the Instapot crease brush, so that's the smaller one. And I'm going to get the bronzer out of this palette, so there's bronzer here. And I'm going to put that upside down again and put that a little bit further into the crease. That's why I'm using a smaller brush. And I'm after very soft definition, so although I'm doing a cut crease, I don't want this really dark in here, which is why I'm just using the bronzer and not the dark brown, because this is going to be a very light kind of classic look. So I just went back to my other brush without putting any product on it and just smoothed it out a bit. And now I'm going to cut the crease, and for that I'm going to use my Colour Tattoo Maybelline in Barely Branded. So I will show you what that looks like. And I'm actually going to use a brush for this because I want a bit more control. So I'm just going to use a flat brush like this. You can see how skinny that brush is. It's just a nice flat one. Because often you use your finger with these kind of products to sort of warm it up and get it moving, but my finger's too big and doesn't always deposit the colour where I want it, and I end up getting it everywhere. So I'm lifting up my eyebrows and sticking colour on, and because it's reasonably cold today, it's absolutely pouring with rain outside today. Spring has arrived, but it doesn't feel much like spring at the moment. So I'm just going to follow that brow bone around there. I don't want to go too high over there. Now hopefully I'm not going out of frame. And making sure that I get it right down to the lashes, because sometimes on my eyes I miss out that bit for some reason. So I'm just patting that on. You can use concealer for this. I'm just using this because I've had it in my collection for a while and I like it. I just need to actually use it more. So instead of using concealer, because I'm going to be putting a cream powder over the top, it's a good opportunity to use this. And the powder I'm putting on is a flat colour. It doesn't have any satin or sparkle or shimmer in it. So this will just give it a little extra. Now you can already see, now that I've put that on, I hope you can already see anyway, that I now have eyelids compared to what I had before. So I hope you can see that. So I've given myself some eyelids. And I can use this same brush, and I'm just going to do it on my makeup cleaner, and it's just got a sponge inside. And although I've just had a cream on that brush, it doesn't matter. I'm just cleaning it off. And I'm going to go into my Profusion palette. Excuse me. Shouldn't do that, but it was covered in dust. And I thought I'd better do this look now because I have nearly finished my cream. So before I finish it, I thought I'd better do this look. And as I said, I tried to film it yesterday, but it didn't work out because I was out of frame all the time, so you couldn't see what I was doing. It was really annoying. So I've just put the cream on that flat brush. It's been a bit tricky to get the product out because it's right on the edges there. And I'm just going over where I cut the crease, so I'm covering that all up. And hopefully not getting it all over me because I've had to pack so much on the brush. So you can see this one's got the eyeshadow on it and this one hasn't. I'll put the eyeshadow on this one. And the reason why I want to put a flat colour on it is because I want to use some glitter eyeliner today. So I just want a suggestion of glitter. I don't want a full-on glittery look because I want to keep it fairly classic looking. And I go back into the brush that I put the bronzer on there and just using it so that this bit here goes into my crease, just tidying up that edge a little bit. And I'll just put a little bit more of that bronzer on to help me tidy it up. And I'm going to go back to the bigger Real Techniques brush here, the shade brush. I can never remember what any of them are called. And I'm going back into that lighter brown, the fawn colour. And then another Real Techniques brush, which is the Multitask Eye Brush. I'm not sponsored or anything, I just happen to have bought a pack of Real Techniques brushes. And these ones here with the black handles was also a pack of brushes, but I can't tell you what they are because they've got no name on them and I can't remember. So that'll be a recurring theme in these videos. So I've just used my fluffy brush with nothing on it just to smooth out any edges. Sorry, scratching my ear there. So I'm going to use this flat brush, which is another Real Techniques brush, and it's a detailer brush. So it's a flat brush, and I'm going into the champagne highlighter, so whatever highlighter you like to use, and I'm just going to go on the very top of my brow bone there, and same with the other side. And again I'm going to go into my fluffy brush, just make sure there are no harsh edges. Okay, I just told you a whole lot of stuff and realised I hadn't pressed record. So what I'm doing is I am doing a little wee kitten flick with my NYX matte eyeliner, and I was just comparing it to my Maybelline Master Precise, and I decided to get the NYX one because the Maybelline one smudges on me, especially on this eye, because of my hooded eye and all the little wrinkles I've got. It smudges a bit, so I got this one hoping it wouldn't smudge, and so far so good, it doesn't smudge. This one here, the Maybelline one, it is a brush tip, but it looks like a felt tip. It's a bit firmer, and it's the sort of shape of a of a felt tip, whereas the next one is definitely a brush, and it's got a lot more flex in it for when you're putting it on. And because I am used to paintbrushes, I find that's quite good for me, and it's a lot more liquidy. It's a much more liquidy formula than the Maybelline one, and I also find that's good because it skips over, instead of skipping over my wrinkles, it fills all the wrinkles in so I can get a line. So I'm not going to talk while I do this because I won't be able to do it while I'm talking. You do have to put more product on the brush quite frequently, whereas with the Maybelline one you don't have to dip that in anything, it's all coming out like a felt tip would, which is why I say it's more like a felt tip, whereas this one you have to actually dip into the product. I have no idea what the front in shot was for that one. And I do have to, because I've got a hooded eye and wrinkles, I do have to stretch that out a little to be able to colour it in, because it's the only way I can do it. Try and keep my eye open, just because it makes your it's easier to see where you're drawing if your eyes open. Yeah, it's not too terrible. It needs a little bit of cleaning up, and to do that I'm going to clean off my flat brush, and I'm going to get some of my concealer, which is here. I used my Maybelline Rewind in Fair, and I'm just going to put some of that on the back of my hand. Get some product out. So I've just got that on the back of my hand, and I'm going to pick it up with my brush. A bit more because I didn't quite have enough. And I'm just going to tidy up that flick a little bit. And also I want to make sure that this corner of my eye here, this little corner here, is brightened a little bit, because I don't want a shadow just there. I'm just going to wipe the stuff off my brush. It's really hard to remember to keep your mouth closed when you do this if you're filming. So they're not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks quite good. My eyes aren't the same shape, so if my eyeliner's not exactly the same, I don't think it really matters. Nobody's going to notice. Nobody's going to be looking at me that closely. So now I am going to get a little angled brush. So you don't have to use exactly the same products. And I'm going to get my dark brown, which is called Chrome, in this pack here, in this palette, in this pack, in this palette. And I'm just going to soften out the edge a little. If my oh, it's getting all over me. Sorry if you can hear things rattling around a bit. I'm using my ironing board to do this on. And that is literally just going all over my face. So I'm using my ironing board to do this on because I can get it a good height, and I'm in my bedroom and I haven't got a desk in here, there's no room for a desk. So I'm sitting in front of the window with my ironing board in front of my camera so that I can have the stuff I need right in front of me, and hopefully have the mirror the right height so that I don't keep going out of frame, because this would be impossible for me to do while holding a mirror. I need both my hands free for it. Okay, I'm going to go back into my flat brush because I've got a little bit of that brown shadow on the cream, and so I just want to tidy that up a bit. And it's okay to go back and touch things up, because some of us aren't expert makeup artists, some of us are just enthusiastic amateurs. Get my Rimmel Exaggerate Waterproof Eyeliner here, and I'm just going to do the lash line. A bit of tight lining. I think that's what they call it. Now before I put the glitter on, I'm going to curl my lashes because I don't want to do that after I put the glitter on in case I knock glitter off and things. I'm actually going to remember to curl my eyelashes today. It does make a little bit of difference. I don't know whether you can see. This one's all flat and this one's curling up because I've only got short little eyelashes, and sometimes you can't see them anyway. But if you're going to see them at all, you'll see them today because it'll be the dark against the light. I'm not going to put the mascara on yet though, because if the glitter sticks all over my mascara on my eyelashes, that's not going to be so good. So I'm using the Designer Brands eyeliner in a gold. So it's got a little wee brush like this, and what I like about it is it comes to a nice point, and I'm going to draw just above where I did the black. So I'm going to hug the line of the black. I hope you can see what I'm doing. A little bit on my eyelashes. So this glitter liner is just, it's in a clear base, so it's just the glitter you're getting. It doesn't have anything else in it. So you've got to dip back in quite often because the glitter comes off the brush really quickly. But, more on my eyelashes. Once it's dry, I find this glitter liner doesn't go anywhere, so if you can see that. So I can wear this all day and it won't budge. But it's not, because you have to keep dipping into it so often. I couldn't say if there was a better one out there, is what I'm trying to say, because this is the only one I've ever used. So there may be better formulas out there that go on without having to dip in quite so much, but this one doesn't budge once it's on there. Once it's on there and it's dry, it won't smear all over your face unless you actually rub your eyes and things. So that's a good thing. So that's looking pretty good, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking for my brown eyeliner, which I cannot find. Here's my brown. So this is just a plain brown eyeliner. I have no idea what brand it is. It's an LA Girl one. Yeah, I took the plastic off and I can see what it is. So it's an LA Girl one, just in brown. So this is just a standard pencil that you sharpen. And I'm just going to go bottom lash line. And I'm using a brown and not a black because I want to keep it fairly soft. Although I used a black for the wing, I don't want black under my eyes as well. I'm using my angled brush and I dip that back into my dark brown eyeshadow. I'm going to stamp that along there. Oops. You see what I just did there? I just smudged it. So I'm making that line pretty soft. I don't want it harsh at all. And I don't want it going down too far or anything. And then I'm going to use my Ultimate Brow Highlighter from Wet n Wild. And this was a recommendation from Emily Noel. Doesn't need sharpening, but I haven't got my sharpener right with me at the moment. So I'm going to grab a clean tissue and just take off any colour that's in my waterline. And there's a bit of brown fallout, so I'll take that off. So I'm going to do my mascara. I'm going to use my L'Oreal Telescopic, which is in my project pan, and do my eyelashes. Now this would be a great candidate for false eyelashes if you wear them. I don't really wear them on a day-to-day basis. In fact, I've worn them about 4 times altogether ever in my life. So I'm not a huge false eyelash person, even though I don't have any eyelashes, but where I live it's just a bit overkill. Occasionally I put them on just because it's fun, but I'm also not very good at putting them on. So if I was putting some on, I would just do little half ones on the edges here to flick that out. It would look quite nice. And so this is about as long as you will ever see my eyelashes, because my eyelashes are short and stubby and there's not that many of them, but on a light base like that you're more likely to see them. Now I'm going to do the rest of my face now before I finish off my bottom lash line. I'm going to use my bronzing brush, which is a multitask face brush by Real Techniques. And I'm going to use the bronzer out of my palette. And then I am going to go in with my brand new bronzer, which is the Betty Lou Manizer, the Bronzing Bandit. So that's it here. And this one has got, I'll see if I can show you. It's got a slight sheen to it, whereas my other bronzer is just a flat bronzer. Now I'm hoping this isn't going to be too orange on me, because you can see that it does come up quite orange. But I'm hoping that I can buff it out nicely and just get a nice little glow. And maybe in the summer it will look more in keeping with my skin tone, because I'll be a little bit more tanned. At the moment I am really pale. I'm just going to get my powder brush that has nothing on it. And just buff that out a bit. And I'm going to go in with my highlighter, but I'm going to first use my highlighter 2's palette, the BYS one that I bought, and I'm going to go into my gold highlighter, which is called Whisper. So I'm going to get this e.l.f. bronzing brush. Close that up. And I'm going to run that along the tops of my cheeks, because I thought that would go nicely with the gold liner I've got going on. And I'm just wiping my brush off, and then I'm just going to buff it in a bit. And while I've got that palette open, I am also going to go in with a small brush. Is it the small one? Yep. So I'm going to go into this Real Techniques Point Triple XS brush. So see the name on it. And it's just a little brush. And I'm going to go into that gold, and I'm going to run it. Oops, that didn't work very well, did it? I'm going to run it along the lash line without putting it all over myself. Just going to pick up my flat brush and just fix that up a bit, because that didn't work so well. And then I'm going to go back into my Profusion Face Palette, and I'm going to get the Real Techniques contouring brush and go into the highlighter in that. And this one is more of a champagne highlighter. And I'm just going to put that on the very tops of my cheeks. Then I'm going to get a little wee brush . I might try this one. This is actually a lip liner brush, but it's got quite a nice little point on the end. So it's like a kind of tulip shape. And I'm going to get that same highlighter again. I'm going to use that on the inner corner, because it's just a bit brighter, lighter than the gold. It looks like. I'm going to get my blush. I'm going to use a pink today. This is also in my project pan. This is also the one that I can't tell you what it is, so any blush that you desire. You don't have to go pink for this. You could do a bright red lip if you wanted. You could have a more peachy nude lip and go with a more of a peach blush. So I tend to decide on what blush I'm using depending on what lipstick I think I'm going to use. Just brush a bit around to make me look like I've got a bit of a healthy glow going on. And now I am going to spray my face to get some of that powdery look off, and hope my mascara doesn't run everywhere. And I'm going to use my sponge and just make sure those cheeks are nicely blended. And while that's drying, I can get my mascara again and attempt to do my bottom lashes, my 3 little lashes at the bottom there that really can't see, but makes me feel like I've got some lashes if I actually try and put some mascara on there. And I'm going to go in with my L'Oreal Brow Artist Plumper, and this is in shade medium dark. I'm just going to brush some of that onto my eyebrows. I have done some work on my eyebrows already. I just used my LA Girl pencil, brow pencil, because I used up my L'Oreal one and I had to get something to replace it, which I think I talked about before, and so far I'm pretty happy with the way it's going. So I said I didn't get the next one because I thought the LA Girl one, hang on, if I can find it I will show you. Yeah, so this is the LA Girl one, the LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil in brunette. So it's just this little pencil here, and the reviews on it said that it wasn't as pigmented as the next one. It's a little lighter and a bit harder, and I thought that would actually be good for me because I've only been doing my brows since last year, so I never bothered before, and I thought, not being very experienced at doing brows, it would just wave the pencil around everywhere. It would be more forgiving if I made mistakes and things. And so far I'm actually really liking it. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to, and if I make a mistake, it's not a huge big black line. It's easy enough to fix up. So I'm pleased that I got this one. So I think my face is dry now, so I'm going to put my lipstick on. I'm going to use my Rimmel Exaggerate lip liner first in You're All Mine. So that's that colour there. And I'm going to use my lip pencil. Now, this is another one, I couldn't tell you what it was. I've had this for years and years. It's one of those retractable lip pencils that you take out and pop it on like that and it pops out, so it's good for travelling with. And I just want to smooth out that line a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with my lipstick, and I'm going to use the Maybelline Colour Sensational Juicy Pink, which looks like this, which you may have seen in one of my other videos, because I ended up getting the L'Oreal one, which looked very much the same, so I'm thinking I should use this one up. And I think basically any lip colour that you put with this eye look will go together think a little bit of bright colour is quite nice when you've got a really neutral kind of looking eye look. But that's my eye look.